Hi, Algebra 1. So this is going to be our second assignment for week 5. I decided to do it kind of in the same format that our first assignment was, just so you guys have some examples to guide you. So just like last time, I'm going to do the odds, and then you'll do the even. I shortened this assignment, I believe. I don't think it's as many questions. So it's going to be 6 questions long. I'll do the odds, you try the evens, and I did make sure to double check all of the problems this time, so hopefully there's no typos in this one, so you should be able to do all of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So for number 1, both of these equations are in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to click here to type so I can write some notes about it. So when graphing a line in slope-intercept form, again, you want to identify what the slope is. The slope is the number that's touching the x, which in this case is 3/2. And the y-intercept, or the b value, is the constant, which in this case is 4. I'm going to use the red line to graph this one first. I'm going to take the arrow and line it up with the y-intercept, which is on the y-axis. So it's going to be at positive 4. And then I'm going to take the other arrowhead and rise and run based off of my slope. Now I can't go up 3, so I'm going to have to reverse my directions. My slope's positive, so I know that by the time I'm done, regardless of where the other arrowhead is, it should actually be somewhere over here, so that way the line rises. So in order to ensure that that happens, I'm going to go down 3, and then I have to go left 2. If I go to the right, the line's going to fall, and I don't want that. I want it to rise. I'm going to do it again for as many times as I can fit. Down 3, left 2. See how I'm going slowly, grid by grid? You want to make sure that you're going slowly and doing it grid by grid, so that way it ends up in the most accurate spot possible, because we're trying to find the point of intersection here. Okay, equation number 2, my slope is -2, and I'm actually going to make it a fraction. If your slope is not a fraction, make it one by putting it over 1. We need to know what our rise and our run is. The b value, or the y-intercept, is -3. So this time I'm going to line up this arrowhead right here with a negative y-intercept. So it's down here. All right, that's pretty good. And then my slope is negative, so I know that when I grab this other arrow, wherever it ends up, the line should fall. So it'd be somewhere over here, so that way the line falls based off of the negative slope. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to drag this arrow down to the y-intercept, and I'm going to move based off of my rise and run. I'm going to rise 2 and go left 1 so that the line falls. Rise 2, go left 1, rise 2, left 1, rise 2, left 1. And that's as many times as I can do that. So my point of intersection, which is my solution, is right here. And I'm going to write that as an ordered pair. I'm going to open parentheses, and it's at the point -2, 1. -2, 1. There's my final answer. So go ahead, pause the video, or even rewatch this bit if you need to, and give number 2 a try. All right, so I'm assuming you've paused the video and you've tried number 2. I'm going to move on to number 3. Same as last time, once I'm done with number 3, use it to guide you through number 4. Okay, so looking at these equations, it's in a different format. It's the one with the parentheses. So these are in point-slope form. When we are graphing an equation in point-slope form, we'll start off the same way by identifying the slope. The slope's the number that's touching the parentheses, so it's 1/2. But instead of identifying the y-intercept, we identify the ordered pair that we see in the equation. The x value comes from the number near the x. Just remember to reverse the sign, so it's +1, not -1. And the y value comes from the number near the y. It's +4, not negative. Remember, point-slope form is the one where you got to reverse the signs. Okay, so in order to graph that, you start with the point. So I'm going to locate that point, 1, 4. So 1, 4 is right here where I'm clicking. So I'm going to take my line, I'm going to start with the red one, and I'm going to line up that arrowhead with where that point is. 1, 4. Here it is. Now I take the other arrowhead and I use the slope to plot more. So first I go back to that original point, and then from here I move based off of that slope. So my slope's positive, so again it should rise like this. So I'm going to go up 1 and right 2. I'm going to go the opposite direction from the other arrowhead. I'm going to go down 1 and left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. And that's as many points as I can plot for that line. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other line. My slope is 1/2. And then the ordered pair is going to come from the numbers near the x and the y. So the x value is going to be not +3, but remember, reverse the sign. It's going to be -3. The y value is going to be not -3, but or not -2, excuse me, but +2. I'm going to put a space so we can see it a little better. So this is the ordered pair that I'm going to want to start with. So I'm going to line up this arrowhead at the point -3, 2. Let me actually find that point first. So -3, 2 is right there. So I'm going to line it up, -3, 2. And then based off of my slope, I'm going to go to that point that I just plotted, and I can either go up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, or I could drag the other arrowhead and go in the opposite direction. Down 1, left 2. And as you can see, the two lines end up overlapping. When this is the case and your lines overlap, that means they're intersecting in all locations. And the lines go for infinity. That's what the arrowheads mean. So my answer here is going to be infinitely many solutions, or you can abbreviate it as IMS. So I encourage you to either re-watch this part for question 3 to help you with number 4, or just go ahead and pause the video now to give it a try now. Careful with the signs of your slopes here, okay? All right, so I'm assuming that you've given the previous problem a try, and we are going to move on to the last problem that I will guide you through. So same as last time, use number 5 to guide you with number 6. So this time I did double check to make sure that these should work out nicely. So we're definitely going to give the standard form questions a try. Okay, so when you're looking at an equation in standard form, because we're doing this electronically, it's going to be easier if we convert those equations into slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to retype that first equation, and my goal is to get the y by itself. To do that, you're going to add or subtract the x term first. It's positive, so I'm going to subtract it. I'm going to do it once to both sides. On the left, I still have a -3y. Be careful when there's a minus sign in front of the y term. You got to remember that counts as a negative. And then on the right, I can't combine these two. This has a variable. The 9 is just a constant, so I'm just going to type them next to each other. The x term goes first, and then the 9 is positive, so I'm going to put a +9. The last thing I need to do is I need to divide all 3 terms by whatever number is sitting in front of the y. Well, that's -3, so I'm going to divide by -3, divide by -3, divide by -3. The y is now going to be alone, and the x, I encourage you to actually not use a calculator when you're doing this, because oftentimes when you're doing this, your slope could come out to be a fraction, probably 50% of the time. And we don't want to write it as a decimal. We want it in fraction form so we can see the rise and the run. Well, remember, there's an understood 1 that's sitting in front of this x here. So I'm going to do it one step at a time here. The negatives are going to cancel. So my slope down here is definitely going to be positive. So I'm not going to type a negative. And then 1 divided by 3, well, I can just write that as 1/3, and then the x. 9 divided by -3 is just going to be -3, and there's our equation. So same as last time, once it's in slope-intercept form, I'm going to do like I did for number 1. I'm going to list the slope, which is 1/2, and I'm going to list the b-value, which is -3. I'm going to take the red line first and line up the arrowhead with this value on the y-axis. Here it is at -3. My slope's positive, so I know that whenever I'm done, my line should be rising. So we're not going to be able to plot a lot of points here for this one. So I am going to go down 1 and to the left 3. And we can actually plot a few more points over here. Oh, actually, you know what? No, I can't do one more. I can go down 1, but I can't go left 3. So that's as many points as I can plot on that side. So let me go to the other side and plot some more points that way. So I'm going to go up 1 and right 3. And I believe that's as many points as I can now plot. Not too many, but that's okay. All right, so I've got some workspace here for the second equation, but as you can see, there's no y variable. I don't need to get the y alone if there is no y. This is actually one of our special equations. This is a vertical line, so it's an up and down line. Some of you guys were struggling with your vertical versus horizontal. So remember, the word vertical means it's going to be up and down. So let me actually go ahead. I can actually make this a vertical line first before I put it in its location. So this is what it means to be vertical. It's going to look like this, okay, a straight up and down line. So in order to put it in its proper location, what you want to do is find 3 on the x-axis and then draw your vertical line through that. So here's 3 on the x-axis where my mouse is clicking. I'm going to take this vertical line and pass it through that point. Okay, so my lines are actually intersecting right here. See how this red arrowhead is just touching this green line? That actually is the point of intersection, because remember, this line is going to keep on going, right? It's going to keep on going like that. So it's actually going to intersect right there. So my final answer here as an ordered pair is going to be 3, -2. 3, -2. There's my ordered pair. Okay, so use number 5 to help you with number 6. Ooh, look at this. Y equals a number, so you don't have an X for this one. So instead of doing a vertical line, think about what that's going to mean for your graph. Okay, all right, so go ahead, give this a try. If you run into any issues, as is normal, leave a comment or email me, and I will catch you guys later.